In the mid-18th century, England was obsessed with ketchup. The sauce became a kitchen essential, with many cookbooks suggesting it be added to everything from stews and vegetables to even desserts. However, this ketchup wasn't the red sauce we know today. In fact, it didn't even contain tomatoes. Instead, it was a sweet and savory brown sauce. So, where did this early version of ketchup come from? And how did it evolve into the tomato-based dip we recognize today? To understand that, we need to look at ketchup's condiment ancestor, fish sauce. As far back as 300 BCE, Chinese fishermen were catching small fish in such large quantities that they couldn't eat or preserve them all at once. So, they salted and stored the fish together, allowing them to ferment over several months. The result was a rich, salty liquid known as fish sauce. This technique was also used by the ancient Greeks and Romans, who built their entire cuisine around fish sauce's flavor. The Romans, in particular, loved fish sauce, called garum, so much that they established factories across the Mediterranean to produce it in large quantities. However, after the Roman Empire fell, the production of fish sauce declined in Europe. For nearly 1,000 years, Europeans cooked without it. Then, in the early 1600s, the Dutch East India Company arrived in Southeast Asia and began trading with the region. They brought back barrels of a familiar fish-based liquid with names like ketchup or kochu. When it reached British ports, the name was simplified to ketchup, reviving interest in the sauce across Europe. By the mid-1700s, European ships were delivering ketchup throughout the Western Hemisphere. However, when they were shut out of Asian trade hubs, ketchup's popularity didn't fade. Instead, British cookbooks began to feature recipes for various types of brown sauces, often based on ingredients like oysters, anchovies, mushrooms, and walnuts. Soon, the term ketchup became a catch-all for any brown sauce, and it gave birth to some of England's most famous condiments, such as Worcestershire sauce, A1 sauce, and HP sauce. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, American chefs were experimenting with tomatoes. Though tomatoes had varied popularity in Europe, Americans were incorporating them into a wide range of dishes. In 1812, a Philadelphia physician named James Mees created the first tomato-based ketchup. His recipe was a thin mix of tomato pulp, spices, raw shallots, and brandy. While this new ketchup was very different from fish sauce, tomatoes have a high level of glutamate, the same compound responsible for fish sauce's umami flavor. As the 1800s progressed, bottled foods gained popularity, and tomato ketchup began to be sold in bottles. By the 1870s, manufacturers started adding sugar, salt, and sodium benzoate, a preservative, to the ketchup, though the shallots and brandy were left out. But the most important change came when Henry J. Heinz, originally focused on selling pickled vegetables, began producing tomato ketchup in the late 1800s. Heinz wanted a healthier product, so he replaced the sodium benzoate with more ripe tomatoes and added a significant amount of vinegar. The result was a thick, tangy ketchup that became a hit, even though it was tough to squeeze out of the bottle. Over the 20th century, ketchup spread globally, becoming a staple alongside American fast food. Today, 90% of American households keep ketchup in their kitchens, and Heinz's recipe has become the foundation for many other sauces and dressings, modern-day descendants of fish sauce. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it and want to continue learning more about topics like this, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos.